You are watching Bermuda Tonight. It's Thursday, the 19th of July. I'm Jasmine Patterson, and thanks for joining us tonight. The Premier David Byrd has just given a special address to the country, marking the PLP's first year in power. And the Premier is here in our studio tonight to discuss the government's time in office. He's talking to Gary Moreno. Gary?
Thank you, Jasmine. I like those Somerset colors. Premier, thanks for being with us after that 20-minute address in which you highlighted a number of forthcoming plans, initiatives that the government is going to pursue, as you say, to make life better for Bermudians. But before we go into that, the government has just celebrated or observed its 1 year in office, the new PLP government. What do you think has been the biggest achievement thus far?
Gary, what I think is the biggest achievement is that the amount of our initiatives that we're actually able to put into place. When we look at our platform, the things of which we promised to do, when we look at our throne speech and our legislative agenda, and the number and pieces of legislation that we've managed to pass and to push through, I think our proudest achievement is actually ticking the boxes of which we promise. And I think that's important, because a lot of time people do not have trust in their politicians that they're going to deliver what they say. And I think what you will see from a range of issues, we delivered precisely what we promised to do.
Ticking boxes is all well and good, but how does that actually benefit the average Bermudian?
Well, if you look at a box, ticking about making sure that we provide more people the opportunity to go to school, and there are 313 Bermudians that had assistance to go to Bermuda College who would not have otherwise gone there. That's a box tick, but that's 313 students that have been able to improve their lot in life.
Now, let me ask you before we go into this, the address that you gave today, what would you see as the biggest disappointment within this first year?
I think the biggest disappointment, and it's kind of tied into a lesson that I've learned, is that you can only push people so hard. And so as myself, as someone who strives to try to achieve what we set out to do, we have not achieved everything of which we said that we were going to do in our first year. And that, of course, is without question a challenge. But one of the things about government is that you can have great plans, but there's also events that pop up and interrupt those plans. So a lot of the energy of which we had, which was not anywhere mentioned inside of our platform, is the immense amount of work of which we've had to do to get ready for our FATF, or Financial Action Task Force assessment, which is taking place in September.
That would have been work that would have been started by the previous government.
Well, you can say that work could be started by the previous government, but I think we've passed about 20 bills, and so it's work that we're having to do right now. We had to unstop hiring freezes, bring in additional resources to make sure that we could meet the challenge that was there. As I said to many, one of the first meetings that I had when I was in office was actually to meet with the chair of NAMLAC and then to get a cabinet committee together to advance these issues. So those are the things that I won't say get in the way, but that's the thing about government. You cannot plan for the events that will come up.
You delivered a speech this afternoon in commemoration of the government's first year in office, and you highlighted a number of initiatives, and in fact this sounded almost like a throne speech, if I might call it that. One of the things you spoke about was $15,000 loan for seniors to improve their homes, or the relatives of seniors who may be looking after their elderly in their golden years, as you put it. A $15,000 non-interest-free loan. Where is that money going to come from?
That money is going to come from the consolidated fund, Gary. But let's look at it. What is the alternative? The alternative is that we'll have seniors who may be on financial assistance, which will cost the government thousands of dollars a month in other facilities. But we have to realize that we have an aging population, and a lot of times you have to make investments in order to save money in the long run. That's the approach of which the government has taken. All the research of which we have says that seniors age better when they're inside their environments. And some of these changes are as simple as changing out a tub to something that's accessible, to add ramps to houses and different things for those persons who may have had strokes and otherwise, so they can get around their houses and be able to sustain themselves or actually live with a family member, so they do not have to be inside of a full care facility. In addition, we also provide the home health care benefit, and in order to be a part of that home health care benefit, your house needs to be ready for a senior to live there. So I think this is something that's good, and I think it's something that will save the government money in the long run.
How was this figure arrived at? Because having kitted out a house for a senior, I can tell you it costs a lot more than $15,000.
Well, I think it was looked at what would be the amount that would be the best insofar as when we're talking about fixtures and ramps for that level. So I think that if there's people who would want more, that's something that can possibly be discussed, but right now we feel that 15,000 is the appropriate figure.
In here you mentioned as well that Standard & Poor's has given Bermuda a positive outlook, and this is for the first time in 12 years. You've attributed this to the policies that have been implemented by the government. But is that fair to say, though, because I don't think Standard & Poor's, things would have improved in just 12 months, would it?
Well, I think that if you look at our financial record, if you look at the fact that we've been able to narrow the deficit more than the projections, even after inheriting a lot of unbudgeted expenses, if you look at the growth initiatives of which we put into place, the increase is insurance in corporations, the work in which we're doing in FinTech, I think that people can see the Bermuda growth story. And I think that that's an important measure. Whether or not it may be attributed to part of the former government, whether it be attributed to our government, our policies, and our path forward to growth, the truth is that this is the first time that Bermuda has been upgraded to a positive outlook in the last 12 years. And that's something that is independent validation of our plans going forward. I could say if Standard & Poor's did not have confidence in our plans going forward, they would not have given us that positive outlook.
There is a feeling that since the PLP has returned to office, it has focused more on the economic aspect as opposed to the social aspect, the things that affect the public at large. You indicated that FinTech is one of the things that is going to be focused on. But how does that fix the situation or address the situation of those in need of work now, those in need of assistance now? FinTech is something that's going to be down the road, because in here you speak as well about introducing STEAM curriculum into the school system. That doesn't affect 18 to 35-year-olds, or it doesn't benefit them now. That is down the road.
Well, here's the thing, Gary. You cannot, part of the reason why we're in the situation where we are now is that we weren't thinking about what the future would have. So we have to do both. And that's why we are worried about addressing the future, making sure that our students are educated, making sure that our adults are able to be retrained, providing them the support of which they need inside of social services. I talked about the money that we've given to education. I spoke about the things, for instance, that we are making sure we do inside of the community, the fact that the government has unfrozen its hiring freeze. This is not costing us additional money. These are positions which were already funded, which are able to be done. I spoke about the fact that there were departments that were dangerously low on resources. So from the perspective of where we are making progress insofar as making sure there are additional jobs. But the only place that you're going to get real job growth from, Gary, is making sure that you provide entrepreneurs the opportunity to create those jobs. And as you've seen, we have doubled the amount of resources that we've given to the Bermuda Economic Development Corporation. We've given more training opportunities for young people, and those are the type of things that will bear fruit.
But most people are not business-oriented in terms of not entrepreneurs as you choose to describe them.
Entrepreneurs create jobs. Not all entrepreneurs are by themselves. Entrepreneurs, when they're given the ability to execute a business plan, create jobs.
Staying on this question of the STEAM curriculum and so on, government recently announced its plan for the phasing out of middle schools and the creation of special schools, I think is what the Minister of Education described it as. What is the plan for that? Because we keep hearing it's going to happen, but we haven't seen any kind of plan. We keep hearing that there's consultation in place, and it's not the education plan 20.
No, it's not. I think that there was a press conference where the minister outlined the plan that we're going to execute in order to arrive at where we want to go for the school transformation. And I think that it is important to consult. These are children that we're dealing with. I mean, we know that it is very important that our children get the best education, and what we want to make sure that we're doing is that we're going to make any changes to the school system that is going to be based on sound research, that's going to have community buy-in and support. Because when you're talking about fundamental changes to the school system, you want to make sure that you get it right. So there is a period of consultation, which we're stating is going to take 18 months. It's in 3 phases, and I think that the Minister of Education has laid out that plan, and I'm sure that he'll be happy to come and speak to ZBM so your viewers can understand precisely the direction in which the government is going to go.
This consultation that we keep hearing about, for instance, I've spoken to individuals closely aligned to the Bermuda Union of Teachers, and they're saying that there hasn't been any real consultation, that it's been known for a long time that there are too many school buildings on the island, and perhaps we need to shut down some of those, and not only shut down, but rebuild. Is that something government is considering?
I think that that's going to be part of the entire consultative process, but here's the one thing that I will say: we do need new school buildings.
when are we expected, or is that a reality, or is it just...
I wouldn't say that it's a reality that's going to happen anytime soon, but clearly when you take a look at the current school stock and where we're trying to go, certainly there's investment that are going to be in facilities, and I think that's something that we will see that can come out of that process.
FinTech, I have to come back to that. You suggested, that there has to be systematic inequalities and so on that see black people overrepresented in the criminal justice system and that kind of thing. As it stands, this FinTech is still being set up. We are seeing that the same people that benefited, the law firms and so on that would have benefited in the past from initiatives such as this, continue to benefit. Well, you don't believe in trickle-down economics.
Well, hold on a second. Well, law firms are clearly going to benefit from incorporation because that's what law firms do. And law firms are required under our laws to incorporate companies.
What I'm saying is that the same people benefit as in the past.
After incorporation happens, Gary, then jobs are created when things are set up. And so when we're talking about people who were laid off from their banking jobs in compliance, who are looking for work to re-enter, can be inside of these compliance jobs. But when you talk about trickle-down, I think it's important to look at what the government has done. This government is the first government to put into place in policy the things that will allow persons who have not had access to intergenerational wealth to compete for government contracts. And as I said in my address before, the only way to address inequality is via the affirmative action of the government when the government has the ability to do so. That is the way that you change the trends that were laid in our census. This government promised that we would do that, and this government has delivered on that promise.
I wish you had agreed to a half-an-hour interview after the news because I keep jumping all over the place.
No problem.
It mentions in here as well about the legalization of 7 grams, decriminalization, of 7 grams of cannabis or less. That is still somewhat confusing to people because if someone is arrested with 7 grams of cannabis, how does a police officer know it's not more than 7 grams of cannabis? How do they know it's less than 7 grams of cannabis? The DPP still doesn't seem to be very clear on how this is going to be enacted. How is this really going to be implemented and followed?
Well, the thing is, number one, it's already been implemented. Number two, there was a public education campaign. Number three, the policy before its implementation had to be signed off from all parts of government. The thing is very simple. Let's focus on the reason why it happened, which is precisely what I said inside of the speech, that there are systemic inequalities which take place. And this was, as I said many times, just as many white people smoke weed as black people. The problem is that 95% of the people who are convicted just happen to be black. It is an example of the systemic inequalities, and the move to do this was to reduce the amount of black males that were entering the criminal justice system. It is working, and the policy, we believe, is the right one.
FinTech, coming back to that, how many people do you think in this country actually understand what FinTech is about, what blockchain is about, and are buying into this? Because we keep hearing about it. We also keep hearing about the negative side of it. For instance, we hear that the SEC in the United States still doesn't subscribe to this.
Here's what I would say, Gary. The fact is that I think the best statement that was made was from Brian O'Hara, one of the insurance legends in Bermuda, that said the same way that people are talking about FinTech in 2018 was the exact same way that they were talking about the Bermuda form insurance and reinsurance in 1986. To answer your question, how many people have bought into it? More people know about it this year than did last year. And if you will see numerous events, such as tonight, the Progressive Labour Party is holding an event at Southampton Rangers where Minister Wayne Keynes and MP Zane De Silva are going to continue to educate people. That's what we have to do. We have to continue to educate people on these items, and more people come on board.
Thank you, Premier, for being with us. Don't be a stranger. I think we need to get more in depth into this.
No problem.
Jasmine?
I'm happy to come back.
Thanks, Gary. We'll have more for you after this short break, including all the latest weather news. Stay with us.
You can count on us.
Save more than half price on seedless red grapes, only $2.99 per pound. Certified Angus beef, top sirloin steak, just $8.99 per pound. Select varieties of Purex 2X laundry detergent, only $4.99 for a 50-ounce bottle. Select varieties of Arizona drinks, just $7.99 for a 12-pack. Nestle's Cheerio cereal, only $4.99 for a 397-gram box. All stores are open Monday through Saturday until 10 p.m. and Sunday 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. for your shopping convenience.
You can count on us.
From happy beginnings and life choices that we make along the way.
Colonial protects your lifestyle with the best insurance cover at the best possible price.
Health insurance with far-reaching benefits.
Family protection and long-term financial plans.
Business insurance and generous employee benefits.
For happy beginnings to happy ever after, visit cgigroup.com.
Colonial, where people come first.
Surface Trends has been serving Bermuda for over 25 years, supplying and installing tile and natural stone. We have a large in-stock selection of beautiful porcelain wood planking, including our exclusive Bermuda cedar tile. You will also find Bermuda's best in-stock selection of countertops, including natural granites, exotic quartzites, and silestone engineered quartz in all the newest colors. Our team will be happy to help you. Stop by our showroom at 17 Serpentine Road or give us a call at 295-8005.
Welcome back. A government employee was arrested yesterday evening following allegations of sexual assault on a minor. Police have confirmed that a 43-year-old man is in custody. He cannot be identified for legal reasons, and police say that due to the nature of the offense, they cannot give further details at this time. The investigation is being handled by officers of the Vulnerable Persons Unit within the Serious Crime Department. Police urge anyone, if they have information or believe they have been a victim of abuse or sexual assault, to call 247-1461 or 295-0011. Weather now, and here's the latest forecast from AccuWeather.
AccuWeather is presented by BF&M Insurance Group. We now go to AccuWeather headquarters.
Good evening. The BF&M Insurance Group is pleased to bring you tonight's AccuWeather forecast. I'm your AccuWeather meteorologist, Jaji Aswad. As we head into the satellite here, we do notice we have some colors on the screen that's representing the moisture available to us out there. The bulk of it's still out toward the west of us, but we're getting in some of those lighter bands and clouds into the area as we continue through tonight and into your extended forecast. Here's a look at the radar. We have been seeing that moisture press its way into Bermuda and into the Atlantic. That's going to continue to be the trend for your Friday as well as Saturday. In terms of our current conditions, temperatures sitting in the lower 80s for St. George's as well as Somerset and Hamilton. Our humidity 75 to 80%, so on the sticky side, and winds coming out of the southwest at 10 to 15 knots, and waves in the reef 1 to 2 feet, waves out 3 to 5. And we do have a small craft warning in place and through this evening that is due to expire, but we'll keep an eye on that because if it continues, that means we have to stay cautious on the water. Our upcoming tides, here's a look at them. Low tide anticipated at 9:12 p.m. on tonight. Next high tide 3:12 a.m. your Friday morning, and our next low tide 9:30 a.m. your Friday morning. For tonight's forecast, cooling down to 76 degrees. Once again, we have that moisture available to us, so we're going to be looking at clouds and showers, and also feeling a breeze out there, once again, coming out of the south-southwest. We'll continue to have our eyes to the sky because clouds, moisture will be in the area. A couple of showers out there, and a high of 84, cooling down to 75 for your low on your Friday. Temperatures are still going to be remaining in the 80s for your extended forecast, and that moisture is still going to be available to us. Here is a look at it for your futurecast. We'll continue to watch it kind of bubble into Bermuda. Going to be spotty in nature, so not expecting any super heavy downpours, but definitely going to be not the sunniest weekend here for Bermuda. Friday night, getting some drier air in, but still showers to the south and north of us. Then we continue through your Saturday, getting on and off showers as we continue into your Saturday night with showers likely. So if you have any plans to be outdoors, just carry an umbrella, a poncho, something to keep you dry if you get caught under one of these showers throughout the weekend. Now, maybe you're going away. Here's a look at the getaway forecast. Toronto topping off at 85, 71 for the low. Looking at partial sunshine. The northeast United States, pretty pleasant weather, high pressure overhead into Friday, and that's going to keep things mainly sunny. Temperature of 81 in Boston and cooling down to 64. London on the stormy side with a high of 81 and cooling down to 59. Across the Caribbean, We're going to be looking at chances for thunderstorms in Jamaica, Barbados, and Trinidad. And for our extended forecast here, Friday, Saturday, looking at wet weather, showers, and then we'll be clearing up as we head into your Sunday and Monday.
AccuWeather was presented by BF&M Insurance Group.
It's hurricane season. Here are some tips from BF&M. Before a storm, make sure you have a family plan. Stock up on food and water and protect your home. Board up and make sure your insurance policies are up to date. After a storm, check everyone's safety, especially seniors. Inspect your property and secure from further damage. Then note the damages, list, and take photos. Remember, you can always count on BF&M 24/7 during hurricane season and all year round.
I didn't order this one. This is the wrong item.
What? These are the wrong size.
I wanted white pants for the white party.
These are way too big. Oh my gosh, this is not what I ordered.
Finally in Bermuda, announcing Mailboxes Unlimited's Internet Return Hub. Now for an 85% savings, no matter how you brought your items into Bermuda, you can return your items back to the U.S. easily. Mailboxes Unlimited's Internet Return Hub. Stop by today.
Thanks for staying with us. Legislation which aims to reduce the number of drink drivers on the roads is set to come into force. New road sobriety checkpoints will allow the police to carry out spot tests to determine if a driver is under the influence. The law is still awaiting the governor's consent, but today the Ministry of Transport gave details about the tests, including an estimate of when drivers could expect to see them in operation.
Well, that's a matter that will have to be discussed with the Bermuda Police Service. They will be the ultimate team that is deploying the checkpoint process as has been devised by the legislation. So it will be up to them. There's training, there's the proper equipment for them being able to use, and that's a matter that they are handling at the moment. Every car that enters the area where a checkpoint is, or vehicle, bike or car, will have to go through. There is a process, as is outlined in the legislation, for a notice to be given 5 to 15 days prior to where a checkpoint is going to be, a particular parish, during a particular time and date. And that's what people expect, but there will be certainly signage and other indications of where the checkpoint is when you're coming up to it, but we intend to have a very robust publication campaign to ensure people know exactly what will be happening.
So setting up a checkpoint isn't a simple process. Police must get approval from the senior magistrate first, and then a notice will be published 5 to 14 days before the date. However, there are instances where the public may not receive advance notification.
If there are events that happen arbitrarily, such as we have an overseas football match where a favorite team wins, the people begin to congregate at a local bar. That's something that is not planned, it's not local, but the police determine that due to the significance of the event, there will be drinking out of the ordinary. They can set up, they can immediately move with the approval of a superintendent to set up a checkpoint, having not gone through that application process. But the senior manager must be immediately informed, and he will determine, based on the information given to him by the senior police officer, superintendent above, if that was a warranted checkpoint. So that's what they can do in those circumstances.
Okay, sort of an emergency checkpoint.
Yes, yeah, essentially, yes.
Still to come, Earl Basin will be reporting from the Central American and Caribbean Games in Colombia. A full report in a few minutes.
Hey Smokey, let's get lunch from the Marketplace food court.
You know what? That sounds good.
They have oxtails, pumpkin, curried lamb, lemon chicken, sweet and sour ribs, vegetable stir fry, and the variety goes on.
Their chefs are good. They'll set you right up with all the good carvings.
And don't forget the special dishes from the islands.
It doesn't matter. No matter what you feel like eating, Marketplace will have it.
You know, it's quick, it's quality, and at prices you can count on.
Visit us 7 days a week. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Made for you daily at the Hamilton Marketplace Food Court.
Every home tells a story, and your story is all yours. Wherever you live, whatever your style, express yourself with Beak Savings Zone. So many unique styles to help tell your story and create your dream home. From contemporary to classic, and from modern to mind-blowing, we've always got your style in mind. No matter the project, no matter the size, from restoration to renovation, Beak Savings Zone has your style with a huge selection and incredible savings. Visit our showrooms at Wallers Point Road, St. David's, or online at beaksavingsZone.com.
Sport now, and our very own Earl Basin reports now from Barranquilla in Colombia, where a Bermudian team is taking part in the CAC Games.
Well, Bermuda were officially welcomed to Colombia as the flag raising ceremony took place earlier today. Now joining me is the chef of the Bermuda team, Mr. John Beard. John, we've had the flag raising ceremony here in Colombia. Your thoughts now that we have been officially welcomed to this village?
Well, the welcome's been terrific. The people here have been very friendly, very welcoming, very hospitable. And I think it's just a question of getting on with it and doing what the athletes do best.
Now, tomorrow night is the opening ceremony. Have we selected our flag bearer yet?
We have. It'll be Jesse Washington.
Okay.
Obviously one of our top swimmers who's got great potential, hopefully for a medal here. Yes. He's training at the moment. Him and Maddie are in the pool doing getting their training in beforehand. So we'll get him out of the pool in enough time to dry himself off and carry the flag for us.
Now, Jesse Washington, you've been selected to carry the Bermuda flag at the CAC Games here in Colombia. Not your first time doing so, but obviously an honor to do so.
Yeah, it's definitely an honor. This is my first, senior international meet, and to be able to carry the flag for Bermuda is definitely an honor.
Bermuda took on Trinidad in their opening Ladies Fed Cup America's Group B match in Ecuador and went down 3-0. Bermuda fell in both singles matches. Shelby Medeiros played the opening match and went down in straight sets 6-love, 6-love. Ashley Brooks would then take to the court and she went down in straight sets 6-1, 6-3. In the doubles, Brooks and Kristen Soltis went down in straight sets 6-love, 6-3. Coming into their first round Europa second leg match, Dante Levrock and his JK Never Trends teammates were down 2-0 to FK Severgenio from Bosnia. Severgenio, playing at home, would record a 3-1 win, thus sending Levrock and JK Never Trends out of the competition with a 5-1 aggregate loss. I'm Earl Basin with Bermuda Broadcasting Sports in Colombia with the chef of the Bermuda team, Mr. John Beard.
That's it from us for tonight. I'm Jasmine Patterson. See you again at the same time tomorrow. Have a great evening.
Jasmine Patterson's wardrobe and makeup is provided by Gibbons Company.